Hello folks, in this video we will get started with TypeScript. But before moving forward, I would like to ask you one question, and that is, what is TypeScript? So TypeScript is A, JavaScript framework, B, a CSS framework, C, a programming language, and D, a testing tool. You can watch the video and answer in the comment section below. I will give you the right answer at the end of the video. So let's get started. Now I have simply asked ChatGPT what is TypeScript, and ChatGPT is saying that TypeScript is a programming language developed and maintained by Microsoft. It is a strict syntactical superset of JavaScript and adds optional static typing to the language. Now, very big words, but we will see this soon. And here are some key aspects of TypeScript: static typing, compatibility with JavaScript, advanced type system tooling support, and many more. Now, I have also asked ChatGPT how to get started with TypeScript, how to install TypeScript globally. And to do that, we simply have to run this command. Now, I have already done this, but in case you haven't done it, you can open the terminal in any folder and you can simply run this thing npm install -g TypeScript, and let's see what happens. And it is trying to install TypeScript. In my case, it is already installed, but in your case, it will install globally. And now let's see what do we need to do next. Next, we can check the TypeScript version. So let's see what is the TS version now. So for my case, it is 5.3.2. And if you are watching the video sooner, it will be same for you also. Like we have installed TypeScript globally like this. Now then I have asked that how to initialize one TypeScript project. And they're asking like many things too. Like we have to create one directory and many more things. Like this is already done in my case. Now you don't really need to do all of these things. Like this is in case you want to initialize one node project or anything. But in this video, we will simply check out TypeScript in the console. So you can ignore all of it and you can directly come and execute this command, and that is npx tsc init. So I will go to my VS Code and simply run this command. And this will basically create one tsconfig.json file. And inside we have many things, but we have to take care of two things first. So there will be something called directory, and it is not direct over here. Like there will be dir. So there is one root dir, and then there will be one something called out dir. So this one. So the root dir is basically wherever our code will be written. So I want all of my code to be written inside one source directory. So here I can add one src folder. Now the out dir is basically wherever our output JavaScript file will be written. Now, you may be wondering, why do we need output JavaScript files? We are already using TypeScript. But that is how TypeScript works. In the compile time, TypeScript will basically compile all of the code into JavaScript code, and the JavaScript will be running in the runtime. And TypeScript only works in the compile time. And this is not even called compilation, this is called transpilation. So basically, TypeScript is converting all of the code to JavaScript code, which will basically run in the runtime, like any other code. Now, TypeScript is giving us type safety that JavaScript is not giving us, and that we will see now. So in our src folder, we will write all our TypeScript code, and that will be converted to JavaScript code in the dist folder. And then accordingly, we can run it. So now the first program that we will run is the hello world program, and we all know it. So I will simply write hello world.ps. Now I suppose you have already heard that TypeScript is a superset of JavaScript. So basically everything that JavaScript has, TypeScript also has. And it also has some extra features like types that we will discuss now. So since it already has JavaScript, we can write JavaScript code, and that is console log hello world. Now we don't generally run TypeScript directly, so we have to convert it. And to convert it, we have to use one command, and that is called tsc. So when I like execute this command, we have the hello world.js file, and it is basically the same thing only because we are only printing hello world. Now it may be a headache to basically execute the tsc all the time. So there is one shortcut, and that is called tsc minus minus watch. So anytime we make any changes in our TypeScript, it will automatically make the changes in the dist folder, like for the JavaScript. So let's execute this one and let's give it hello world exclamation, and it will change automatically here. Now I will open another terminal. I will go inside the dist, and here I will simply do node hello world.js, and we have hello world. So we have successfully written our first TypeScript program. So now this is very simple stuff. It is only printing hello world. Now we will see what are types in TypeScript. So I will now create another file, and I will name it variables.ts. And as you can see, automatically because of the tsc watch, it has created one variables.js file. Now in the variables.ts, so we will basically check like how we can write TypeScript variables, and basically the same as JavaScript. So let me write a equals to 10, and then let's say b equals to one string 20, and then let c equals to, let's say, true, some boolean, and let's actually make it const, and the third one is var. Now let's see what JavaScript we have. And we basically have the same things. Now, what is the difference? The difference is this. In A, we can write something like this. Let A number equals to 10. Now, what will happen is if I try to do something like this, A equals to 10 here, it will be throwing one error. And that is type string is not assignable to type number. Let's say we don't have the number, then we will not be having this error. And actually we have this error, and that is type string is not assignable to type number. And that is because TypeScript by default assigns the number type to A because we have assigned 10. Let's say we don't keep anything, then we will have no errors. But the same error will not be showing in the JavaScript. So that is one benefit. And also in case we give any, and any means it can be of any type, then there will be no errors. So this is one feature that we have in TypeScript, and that is we can assign types like in any other programming language like C++, C Sharp, Java we have. That is something we have in TypeScript. Now for the B, let me just assign string, and for the C, I can assign Boolean. Now one thing to note is that TypeScript doesn't have int or float like we have in C++ or Java maybe. It has number. And actually that gives less attack, right? So now in our variables.js, we have the same things here. So that is how we can basically declare variables, simple stuff. Now we will close the video by creating one simple program, and that is one simple calculator. So basically we will have like addition, subtraction, deletion, like division, few other like operations, and we will see how TypeScript can do the job. Actually, JavaScript can also, but TypeScript can do maybe slightly better way. So now we have this program called simplecalculator.ts, and here we will have one function. Let's name it clc and the calc will accept three arguments. So let's say a, b, and the operation. Let's name it op. And then let's say by default it will return -1. And here I will basically have to call this function. So let's say we have a result, and here I will call the calc, and the a and b will be, let's say, two numbers, let's say 8 and 2, and the operation will be one string, let's say mul, that is multiplication, and then we will simply do console log of res. So now we have simple calc.js, and it is basically with no changes, and which is correct. Now here if I simply run the simple calc.js, what we have some errors. And okay, the error is because it should be calc and not cal. So let me make it calc, and let me just do simple calc, and we have -1. That is because we are sending -1. Now because TypeScript has types, so what we can simply do is we can declare that a should always be number and b should always be a number, so that some mischievous users do not try to do it something like this, like either mischievous or very stupid users. So they have to pass a number always. So this is one benefit. And this op should always be one string, so that people do not try to pass again something mischievous over here. Now what do we need to do inside? And inside I believe this is simple stuff, and that is we will write one switch case. So switch, and we will pass the op, and inside what we can simply do is we will do case. Let's say we have sum. In that case we will simply return like a plus b, and then let me just copy these things. Then after sum we will have subtraction sub, this will be a minus b. Then we will have mul, which will be a multiplied by b. Then we will have div, that is a divided by b. And then lastly we will have a, let's say, modulo, so a mod b. And I believe that's all. And then let's say people find some mischief, then by default we will basically return 1 -1. So this is the thing that we have. Now if I do the race, we have 16, and that is 18 to 2 is 16. Now we can also do something like this, that we can mention that it should always return one number. So for a function calc, it will return number, and that is something we can decide by this. So that is also fine. Now the issue is something like this. What if we pass some mischievous strings, so for example mulls or anything? Now this will throw some error, right? So if I do, like, we are getting -1, we should be getting, yeah, that is fine, -1 is fine. But what if we never allow the users to pass something like this? And that is also we can do. And that is, instead of writing string over here, we can simply write what kind of operation we are expecting. Like there are only 5 types. So I will simply write sum, and this straight line is the or sub, or mul, or let's say the other two, div. or field. And now you will find one error, and that is argument of type mulse is not assignable to parameter of the type sum. I mean, of the type sum, I mean, basically this whole argument. So we have to pass null for here. And now if I do the note or whatever, we have the correct result and we will always have it. So this is the benefit TypeScript is giving us in making this simple calculator. And if we try to do this in JavaScript, we will never be having this benefit. So for example, here as you can see, this is the same code only, but it will allow us to run. Now coming back to the question that I asked at the beginning of the video, and that is what is TypeScript? And if you have watched the video, you already know it, and that is TypeScript is a programming language. We can see that this is the correct answer. So that's it for this video. And in the next video, we will learn about TypeScript interfaces. So yeah, thanks for watching and bye bye. Hello folks. In the last video, we learned about the absolute basics of TypeScript and also how to set up the TypeScript environment. Now in this video, we will learn about interfaces. Now before proceeding ahead, I will ask you one question, and that is, which of the below is the right way to write an interface? So we have four options and you can check the options and answer in the comment section below. I will give you the right answer at the end of the video. So let's get started. So interfaces are how we can define the types of complex objects in TypeScript. So I will write interface. Let's say I have one user, and ideally the users can have one ID. Let's give the ID as number. We can also give it as string. In case we are using UUID, the ID will be one string. And the user can also have one, let's say, username. That could be also a string. They can also have one email. This will be another string. And they will definitely have a password. And this will also be a string. And apart from that, they can also be an admin or not. So we will have an is admin, and this will be, let's say, boolean. So this is one user object, and they have ID, username, and each of these have their following types. Now the question is, what is the type of this user? Now the type of this user is nicely defined by this interface. Now if I write one function, let's name the function as create user, and this create user function expects one user argument. And now what we can say is that the user will be of the type user that we defined above. Now inside, let me for now return one only. Now, when we are calling the function, you will see how TypeScript works. So here, it's saying that it expects one small u user. Now, the user is one object, so I will create one object, and let me give the ID as 2 and the username as my name, Lipto. Now, as you can see, it's already throwing some red squiggly lines. And what does it say? It's saying that type number is not assignable to the type string. The expected type comes from the property ID, which is declared here on type user. So what it is saying is that ID is of type string, so please don't assign a number. So I can simply change this to string, and the red squiggly lines in the ID is gone, but we have some bigger issue. And what it is saying is that argument of type, this whole thing, ID string and username string is not assignable to parameter of the type user. So this thing is missing the following properties, and that is email, password, and isadmin. So what it is saying is that please add all of these three things also. So what I can simply do is I will give the email as my email, that is dipto@gmail.com, and then this is the password of my email. It's not advisable to share your passwords in the public, but for tutorial purposes I am simply doing this. So password is 1234, and lastly is admin. Yeah, I'm definitely admin of my email, so this is true. Now as you can see, all of these errors are gone. So this is how interface is giving us like nice type safety. Now if I, let's say, try to run this thing, so I have to go to my list, and now I will simply do note and then for interface.js, and we have nothing because we are simply returning one. Instead of that, what we can simply do is log uh, successfully executed. Now, if I run once again, we have successfully executed. So this is how it works. Now, let's say if I remove the isadmin true, we have some error. And now if I run once again, we will have successfully executed again. And that is because what we have discussed in the last video, that is TypeScript is only a type safety. The original code is the JavaScript code only, and JS really doesn't care. It will execute anyway. But in the development environment, this is like telling us that this is not the expected behavior of the code. So this is one humble way interface helps us. And now we will see some additional features of interface. So right now we have this huge error, but what we can do to fix this is give some optional properties. So let's say in our user, this is admin property is not always required. So what we can simply do is make it optional. And to do that, we only have to give one question mark. And as you can see, the error is gone. And that means this isadmin is not always expected. We can also give it. So let me just give it isadmin as false. And instead of console logging successfully executed, let me simply console log the user. And now if I do this thing again, we have this whole thing with isadmin false. Now if I also let's say remove the isadmin, we don't have errors, but when I execute, we have this thing without the isadmin. So that is how optional properties can sometimes be used. Now we will see how we can extend interfaces. And to do that, I will just create another interface and let me just name it shape. And this shape will have, let's say, one color of string definitely, either hex code or normal name, anything. And now I will create several shapes. So let me just create one circle and then I will create one, let's say, square. Now I can also create something else, let's say one line. That's it. Now line can also have a color, I suppose. Anyway, inside the circle will also have one radius, and this will be one number. I think it should be radius US, like the United States, and this will have one side. This will be number, and the line will also have, let's say, only length. This will also be a number. Now, what happens when we try to find out the, let's say, the color of the circle? So we can simply add one color with the string rate. Now the same thing can also be done for the square and the line also. Now we are using too much colors over here. So what we can simply do is something like this. So interface circle extends my shape. Now what will happen is the circle will expect two things. One is color and the next one is the radius. So I will simply do circle of the type circle, and now let's see what it expects. So let me simply give the radius of, let's say, 10. And now let's see, there is some error. So property color is missing in type. So it by default expects the color that we defined in the shape also. So now if I, let's say, give the color of, let's say, red, now there will be no errors. Now for the square, where we haven't extended this thing, so let me just create one square of the type of square, and let me simply just copy this whole thing, and it will give a different kind of error. So it is saying that type color string, this thing is not assignable to the type square, but this thing will be when I extend the shape. Now for the line also, okay, this thing should be side and not radius. So this is how basically one parent shape, we can basically extend these things to like circle and square. So this is also one additional benefit of interface, and the same thing we can also do for lines. So that's all we had to discuss in this video. Now coming back to the question that we discussed at the start of the video. So which of the following is the right way to write an interface? And I hope you already know it, and that is option A. If I check answer, this is the correct answer. So yeah, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching and bye bye. Hello folks. Hope you are all doing good. In the last video, we learned about interfaces. Now in this video, we will learn about another very interesting topic, and that is called partials, which is also related to interfaces. Now before proceeding ahead, as usual, I will ask you one question, and that is, what is the functionality of partial? A. Converts all properties of a type to their partial form, makes all properties of a type as optional, creates a partial copy of the type, and none of the above. Now you can watch the video and you will get the answer. I will also give you the answer at the end of the video, but you will answer in the comment section also. So let's get started. So I will start by creating one interface. I will name this as Pokédex. Now inside I will have few attributes. So I will have an ID of number. Like every Pokemon will have a number. And I will also have one Pokemon. And the Pokemon will be of the type Pokemon that I will define in another interface, and the error will be gone. So I will create another interface called Pokemon. And now inside I will give a name string, and then I will also give one label, like the Pokemon will have one label of type number. And then I will check what is the type of the Pokemon. Now types can be multiple also, so I will give an array of string. Like Charizard is both fire and flying type, so we will have two strings. And now lastly I will check if the Pokemon is legendary or not, so I will have one boolean value here. So we have two interfaces now. Now I will create one function, and I will name this function as update Pokédex or update Pokemon or whatever. Update Pokemon. Now, what I want to do is I want to pass some ID of the Pokemon. So this ID will be one number, and I want to like update some info. So I will create one info, and the issue here is that I have to update the whole Pokemon. So what I can do is I can pass the Pokemon. I have to basically update everything, and inside what I can do is I will do one console log of, let's say, info, and I can return one. Like it's not a very complicated function, but the real update Pokemon function could be complicated. Now, when I'm calling the function, I will write update Pokemon and I will pass the ID of 2, let's say. Now, the issue here is that I have to pass everything. So I have to give a name, and then I have to give some level, and then I also have to give some type, and also if it's legendary or not. So everything I have to pass, which I don't want to do. What I want to do is I want to pass the selected info. Let's say I only want to update a level. So I want to update the, like, pass the level only and update it. But in this case, so because I am taking info of type Pokemon, I have to pass everything. Now, this is one issue that can be resolved by using partials. So how can we use partials? So above this function, I will define one type called update Pokemon. And this update Pokemon will be one partial of the interface Pokemon. So now, let's say the info, instead of Pokemon, I'm passing update Pokemon. And now you will see that all these errors will be gone. Let's say I only want to pass the name. So let me just give the name as Pikachu. And I can actually, and also there is another issue, and both of these are same. So let me just name it update Pokemon partial, and the type will be update Pokemon partial. So the partial and the function name couldn't be the same. So now here, let me just run the 5. And as you can see, we are console logging via like name Pikachu. And let's say we also want to pass the level. So let's say I got one Pikachu of level 5. And now if I run the program once again, we have Pikachu of level 5. So this is how partial comes to help us. Like we are not really passing the type and is legendary, where this is not really required. Let's say I want to update that level now. So I will pass the 7, and let's say I'm not even passing the name Pikachu. And now if I run once again, I will have level 7. So this is how it works. Now you may be wondering that what is this type? I have not seen this type. And this is something that we will see in the next video. Now coming back to the question that I asked at the beginning of the video, and that is, what is the functionality of the partial? So by now you already know the answer, and that is, it makes all properties of a type as optional. So I can basically skip any of these four. I can pass name, I can pass type, or I can skip anything, pass anything, anything is fine. So option B is the right answer. And that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye. Hello, folks. So in the last video, while discussing about partials, we have used type. Now in this video, we will see what are types. Now before proceeding ahead, I will ask you one question, and that is, which of the below is a valid use of type? You can see the four options, and you will answer in the comment section below. I will give you the right answer at the end of the video. So let's get started. So very similar to interfaces, we also have types in TypeScript. The syntax is slightly different. So we can create one type by writing something like this. So let's say type point equals to, and we will have some points. So let's say x, that will be one number, and also in y we will have another number. And if it's 3D, we will also have z, which is another number. Now we can also create some points. So let me first create the origin point O. The type will be of point, and here I can define the points. So let's say I will give x as 0, y will also be 0, and z will also be 0 because this is the origin. Now any other point also I can create. So let me create one random point p. The type will be of point, and here let's say the x will be 14, the y will be 12, and the z will be 10. And we can also do some console logs. So let me do console log of o and console log of p. If I run this thing, what will I get? So I will do node, and then I will run this 6 type.js, and we have the following results. So there is nothing unexpected here. So the only difference is that the types will be using one equals to, and then we will create the types. So for interfaces, we don't have equals to, we directly write these things. So this is one basic difference between the types and interfaces. Now let me just create one function. So below, I will create another type, and here I will create one Pokemon type, and this Pokemon type will have the name of the Pokemon, which will be the string. It will also have one level, that will be one number, And lastly, it will also have the type of the Pokemon, which will be another string. It could be one array of strings. So in case a Pokemon has multiple types. Now I will create one function. So let me name one function as Pokemon info, and inside I will pass one Pokemon of the type Pokemon type. And here what I will do is I will do some console log. So I will console log my Pokemon name. So Pokemon dot name, and I will write as a level, and then I will give my level. So Pokemon dot level. So Pokemon has level is Pokemon dot type, and we actually cannot get the type like this, so we have to do type 0. So let's say I will only give the primary type Pokemon. So that's all I want to write. And lastly, I have to invoke the function. So I will call the Pokemon info, and here I have to pass the things. So let's say I will get the information of Charizard, and we know that Charizard could be of many levels. Let's say this Charizard is of level 50. And lastly, I have to pass the type also. So the type will be fire and flying. Now, okay, this should be one comma, not full stop. So now if I run the same thing, so we have Charizard as level 50 is fire type Pokemon. So this is how we can use like types in brief. So that's all about types in TypeScript. Now there are some additional differences with interfaces, but that we will cover when we are coming to unions. Now coming back to the question that we asked at the beginning. So which of the below is a valid use of type? And the right answer is option C. So that's it for this video. If you have learned something new in this video, consider hitting the like button. It gives me a lot of motivation to create a lot more videos like this. So yeah, that's all for this video. Thanks for watching and bye bye. Hello, folks. Hope you're all doing good. So as of now, we have discussed about interfaces and types. Now in this video, we will discuss about generics, which is a lot more powerful. Now before proceeding ahead, I would like to ask you one question, and that is which of the below is a valid syntax for generics? So you will answer in the comment section below. I will give you the right answer at the end of the video. So let's get started. So interfaces and types allow us to maintain type safety when we already know the types. But what happens when we have a function but we don't really know what is the input type? So in that case, generics comes into the picture. So let me just create one simple function. So I will create one function. I will name the function as return element because this function only prints and returns one element. And now let's say it will have some input. Let's name it lm. Right now we have lots of errors because we haven't mentioned types. So let's say I will console log the lm, and I will also return the lm. That's all. Now, how can I call a function? It's very simple, right? I can do return lm, and here I can pass one 5. Now, this function will run because JavaScript doesn't care about types. So if I run this thing, we have 5. But in TypeScript, we have this error, and that is this lm has one any type. So what if I give this thing the type of number? So now the error is gone, but the issue is if I do something like this, pass the 5 as a string, here I have one issue, and that is argument of type string is not assignable to parameter of type number. Now the JavaScript code will still run, but in TypeScript we have some issues and we want to fix that. So how can I really fix that situation? That is when we can use something called generics. And also one more thing, this function is returning one lm, and this returning lm also doesn't have any type. So I can give one string here. And now the issue is this thing that we are passing one integer and then one string, and in the end we are returning one lm that could be anything. So the type number is not assignable to the type string, so it is giving lots of strange errors. Now using generics, all of this can be sorted. So first of all, we will give that this lm is expecting one type t. And what is this t? So this t is basically whatever is being passed to our return element, and that we can specify by writing something like this. So this return lm will get this t, it will analyze whatever is this t, and this lm will be of the type t, and the return type will also be of the type t. Now as we can see, all of our errors are gone. It will run as usual because ultimately the JavaScript is running, which doesn't care about anything. And but in the TypeScript, the errors are gone because of this generics. So what this Angular brackets does is it is verifying whatever is the type that is being passed. Then we are assigning the same type to the lm, and the function also returns the same type. So here I can do one true here. So this becomes a boolean, and there will be no issues. So we will have the correct results. Now I will write one little bit complex function, and which is also one very common problem in generics. So I will write one function called swap, which will swap basically two elements of which could be of two different types. So first of all, I will take two elements here. That will be T1 and T2. And yes, in generics, you can take two elements like this. And then I will specify this element 1 will be of the type T1 and the element 2 will be of the type T2. And the return type will be the opposite. So that will be T2, comma T1. So we will get T1, comma T2, but we will send T2, comma T1. And I will simply return LM2, comma LM1. So that is how we will deal with this. Now, calling the function is very simple. So we will basically pass, let's say 2 comma 3, and we will get it inside res num, let's say, and let me simply log res num. And there is one error over here, and it should be inside square brackets. Now, if I run this program, what do we see? We see 3 comma 2. Now we can also do one res string, let's say, and this will be swap of let me give 3 and then 6, and it should be the opposite. Yeah, we should also console log, and let's see what do we get. So we get 6 comma 3, and the good part is that we can basically do one res mixed also. So we will do swap of, let's say, true, comma, let's say 5. And now we can do the console log of res mix, and we will also get the same thing. That is 5 comma true without getting any errors, and also without specifically mentioning what are the types we want over here. Because in case we wanted types, we had to write something like this. So the return type will be like in place of T1 or T2, we had to write number or string or boolean, something like this, which would be very complicated. So this generics does the job very simply. So coming back to the quiz that I asked at the beginning of the video, which of the below is a valid syntax for generics? And if you have watched till the end, you already know that the right answer is option D. So if you are still around, consider liking the video. It gives me a lot of motivation to create a lot more videos like this. So yeah, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Hello folks. Hope you are all doing good. So in this video, we will discuss about unions and intersections in TypeScript. Now, I will ask you one question before proceeding ahead, and that is, you have two types, that is A and B. Now, what does this A slash A and B represent? You have four options. You can check the options and answer in the comment section below. I will give you the right answer at the end of the video. So let's get started. So I will start by creating few interfaces. So let's say I want one interface of a circle, and here I will give the radius of number. Then we will have one interface of a square, and the square will be having one side of the type number. Now let's say I also want one interface of a rectangle, and the rectangle will be having one length of the type number and also one breadth of the type number. Now let's say I have a function. This function, let me call it shape function, and this shape function expects one shape. And here, what do I have to pass? So I have to pass either the circle or the square or the rectangle. Now the issue is that sometimes we may want to pass only one shape, which could be any of the three. And this is where unions come to help us. So what we can simply do is write something like this. So we will write shape type equals to, and this shape type could be any of the three. So what we can write is circle, and then this vertical bar, square, and then the rectangle. So this is what we can write, and this means the shape type could be having the circle, the square, or the rectangle. So here let me simply give the shape type, and let me do one console log. I will write this is the shape function, and let me output the shape. Now let me call the shape function. I will call it by the rectangle. So I will let's say I will give the length of 5 and the breadth of 3. Now if I run this thing, you will see that this is a shape function, length 5 and breadth 3. And the important part is that I can also pass for the square. So I will give side equals to 5. So here there is some issue, and that is argument of type side number is not assignable to parameter of type shape type. Property color is missing in type. So the issue is that in the interface also we had declared these same types, and that is why it is showing some errors. So let me just comment these things out, and the error is gone. So if I once again run this thing, we have side 5, and we can also make it radius. If I run once again, it will like run accordingly. So this is how this like this OR comes to help us. So this vertical slash is nothing but an OR. Now there is also an AND, and in TypeScript we also call this unions and intersections. So for a union, I will write shape union equals to circle and square and rect. Now what will happen here is another function, let's say function of shape union, and let's say it will take one argument called shape union, and this shape union will be of the type shape union. Let me do one console log of this is the shape union function, and let me also output the shape union. And when I'm trying to call this function, shape union, let's say, what this will expect is everything associated with the circle, the interface, and the rectangle. So if I simply pass, let's say, radius of 10, it will throw one error. It is saying argument of type radius number is not assignable to parameter of type shape union. Property side is missing and but required in type square. So let me also pass the side of, let's say, 12, and it is still showing some error. So it is saying that this is missing from the following properties, that is length and width. So I also have to give the length of, let's say, 15 and the breadth of, let's say, 14. Now all the errors are gone. Now if I run this thing once again, what do we get? We get this is a shape union function and all of these four things. So this thing, as we all know in other languages also, this is the end. So this is how basically unions and intersections you know come to help us in TypeScript. So coming back to the question that I asked at the beginning of the video, and if you've watched till the end, you already know the answer. You have the type A and B. So what does the type A slash A and B represent? And the right answer is option C. So yeah, that's all for this video. If you have learned something new here, consider liking the video. It gives me a lot of motivation to create a lot more videos like this. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Hello, 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 folks. Hope you are all doing good. So in this video, we will discuss about enum in TypeScript, which is very important concept to know. Now, before proceeding ahead, as usual, I will ask you one question, and that is, in TypeScript, what is the default type of an enum member? And you have four options: Boolean, string, number, and any. You can watch the video and you will get the answer. You can answer in the comment section below. I will give you the right answer at the end of the video. So let's get started. So you must be remembering this simple calculator that we made a while ago. Now in this video, we will be making the same calculator using enum, and we will see how does it help us. So in the previous one, what we used to do is we used to define one function called calculator. We used to take two numbers and one operation, which could be of any of these types, and accordingly we used to return the results. For any wrong value, we used to return -1. Now we will be doing the same, but let's see how can enum help us. So I will go to my enum.ts file, and here first of all what I will declare is one enum called operation, and here I will define like what are the different kinds of operation we have. So we have add, and then sub, then we have mul, then we have div, and we also have a mod. Now we will see what is this enum. So let me just do one thing. We will do console log operation dot add, let's say. And now if I run this file, node and then 9, we see 0. So what is the 0? Let me also try to console log everything else. So after the add, we will do for the sub, then for the mul, then for the div, and lastly for the mod. And now let's see what is the answer that we get. And we get from 0 to 5. So what enum means is enumerated numbers. So what does this do is it is assigning these values from 0 to 4 to all of these things. So basically addition, subtraction, multiplication, all of these have these numbers assigned to it. So now let me just declare one function called calculator. I will use a different name so that it doesn't throw any error. So this calculator will be accepting one A number and another B number, and then it will also like accept one OP, and this OP will be of the type operation. And now let me just write one function over here, and also let me just declare how we will call this function. So I will call raise equals to calculator, and here I will pass, let's say, 7 and 5, and let's say this operation dot add, and lastly we will do the console log of result. Now inside this calculator function, what do we want to do? We want to take one switch case, and the switch case will accept the operation, and inside I will write my logic. So let's say the case is operation dot add, and in that case I will simply return a plus b, and we already calling the add one, so we can run this thing. And let's say we get 12. So this is correct. Now what happens if I give 0 over here instead of operation dot add, and if I run the function, we again get 12. So what happens is basically this operation dot add, it is taking the place of 0. If I pass 0 over here, let's see what we get. We get 12, so we get no errors. So as you can see, this complex logic that we are writing over here, sum equals to this, that, many things, this can be very simply changed to this enum. Now you may be wondering that, this is much simpler than this enum. What is the need for this enum? But that is because this is one simple calculator. In case of a complex calculator or a lot more complex function, you may be using the enum. That will be much better choice. So in this case, I will just complete this function. So after the add, I will simply do case operation dot sub, and I will be returning a minus b. And then for the mul and for the other things also, like it's no big deal. Let me just copy everything here. So this will be for the mul, and lastly this will be for the div. Let me return accordingly. And also we have the case operation dot mod, and I will return a mod b. And we will also be having one default case, and here in this case I will return -1. So let's say I am sending 5, which is not present here, and what I will expect is -1. So as you can see, this is correct. So this is how enum works. It will assign like numbers from 0 to whatever is there. Like after this, there could be much more operations also, and it will assign the numbers accordingly. And like these 5 lines are not really required. And this whole thing can be written very simply like this instead of what we have written over here. So yeah, now coming back to the question that I asked at the beginning of the video. So what is the default type of an enum member? And you already know the answer, and that is option C, number. So yeah, that's it for this video. If you have learned something new today, consider liking the video. It gives me a lot of motivation to create a lot more videos like this. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Hello, folks. Hope you are all doing good. So in this video, we will try to understand how we can use classes in TypeScript like any other programming language. Now, before proceeding ahead, I will ask you one question, and that is in TypeScript, how you can define a constructor in a class. Using the constructor keyword, using the init keyword, using the same name as a class, or constructors are not allowed in TypeScript classes. You can watch the video and you will get the answer. I will also give you the answer at the end of the video. So let's get started. So I will start by creating one interface. I will name this iPerson, and I will give one name to the person of the type string, and the person will also have an age of the type number. Now you must be knowing, if you come from C# or Java background, that the interface can also have some kind of function, like only the declaration we can have over there. So I will also be having one function called personinfo, which will be returning some string. Now I will have to create one class called person, and this person class will be implementing the iPerson interface. And now inside, I will have, let's say, one name string and one age of number. Now this comma should not be present here. So that's it. And now I will use one constructor, and this constructor will also be accepting one name of the type string and one age of the type number. And inside, what I want to do is I want to assign these values. So I will assign this dot name, the value of name, and I will assign to this dot age, the value of age. Now I also must be having the person info. There is one error it is already throwing over here. Class person incorrectly implements the interface iPerson, property person info is missing. Yeah, that is right. And that is because since I have declared this person info in the interface, I also have to write this function over here. So I will take this person info, and it is automatically completing it, that it will be returning one string. And let's say this will return something like this. This dot name is this dot age years old. This dot age plus years old. And that's it, very simple string. So we have made this class, and now we will see how can we basically create an object of this class and etc etc. So I will create one small p person equals to new person. Like this is very similar to Java or C# or anything else. And inside I will pass like whatever is expected in the constructor. So I will pass basically my John, let's say, and John is, let's say, 20 years old. Now after this one, we have an object called person. We can basically call all of this like methods and everything. And let's say we will also log the same thing here. So I will log this dot name is this dot age years old. And now let me simply execute this function. So note, and we don't see anything, and that is because we have only created this object. We have not really called this person info. So if I do something like this, person info, and now if I execute, you will see John is 20 years old. And this is how basically it works. Super simple, like any other programming language. Now, coming back to the question that I asked at the beginning of the video, in TypeScript, how can you define a constructor in a class? And if you have watched till the end, you already know that option A is the correct answer. So, this is the end of the TypeScript series. Let me know in the comment section below what kind of series you want next. And also, if you have learned something new in this video, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. It gives me a lot of motivation to create a lot more videos like this. So, yeah, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.